Today we are covering the complete calculation for self-employment tax, a heavily tested area on the exam. The process begins with net earnings from self-employment, which is the figure you arrive at after deducting all ordinary and necessary business expenses on Schedule C. The very first step, and a common exam trap, is to multiply this net earnings figure by 92.35%. This percentage represents the net amount after backing out the equivalent of the employer's half of FICA taxes. Forgetting this step is an easy way to select a wrong answer. Only after this reduction do you have the base amount subject to the self-employment tax rates. The total self-employment tax rate is 15.3%. This rate is composed of two distinct parts. The first part is the Social Security component, which is 12.4%. This rate applies to your self-employment earnings up to the annual Social Security wage base limit, which for 2025 is $176,100. The second part is the Medicare component, which is 2.9%. Crucially, there is no income limit for the Medicare portion. It applies to all of your net self-employment earnings. A frequent exam question will involve a taxpayer with both W-2 wages and self-employment income. In this scenario, the W-2 wages are counted first against the Social Security wage base limit. For instance, if a taxpayer has $100,000 in W-2 wages and $90,000 in net self-employment earnings, the W-2 wages reduce the available Social Security base. So only the first $76,100 of their self-employment earnings will be subject to the 12.4% Social Security tax. However, their entire amount of self-employment earnings after the 92.35% adjustment is still subject to the 2.9% Medicare tax. Another critical concept tested is the deduction for one-half of the self-employment tax. This is an above-the-line deduction taken on Schedule 1 of Form 1040. It is not a deduction against the self-employment income on Schedule C, nor does it reduce the self-employment tax itself. The exam will try to trick you by presenting answer choices that misuse this deduction. You calculate the total self-employment tax first, and then you deduct half of that amount from your gross income to arrive at your adjusted gross income. Don't confuse this with the additional Medicare tax. This is a separate 0.9% tax levied on earnings above certain high-income thresholds, such as $200,000 for single filers. This is calculated on Form 8959 and is not part of the 15.3% self-employment tax rate. The exam will test your ability to distinguish between these two separate taxes. To remember the first crucial step, use this phrase, 9235, guess the calculation live. It's a simple reminder that you must always start by multiplying net earnings by 92.35% before you do anything else. This single step is often the difference between the correct answer and a clever distractor. Master this sequence, from the initial adjustment to applying the limits and taking the final deduction, and you will be well prepared for any self-employment tax question on the exam.